What's up, guys? Welcome back. We got a interesting video going on today. I'm gonna put the Corvette on the dyno C7 Corvette you just saw there in those little intro clips, and we're just gonna do a little bit of testing. We want to see how much power it makes. Obviously, I have an idea of what I'm looking for. Go right down in the comment section below and write what you think it's gonna make. Whoever gets it right gets nothing, but you can say you're right. So basically, I'm probably looking, make 650 stock, so 85% of that, I guess. It does have, it's not 100% stock. We got a Hall-Tech intake, and that is actually supposed to add a good bit of horsepower. We're going to be testing that here a little bit, but I'm not so much concerned about what the actual number is. What we're mainly looking for is how consistent it is. We're going to look at the heat soak, and I've got some numbers written down, some stuff I'm going to measure. I have a little infrared temperature probe thing, laser thingamajigger, show you right here, and we're going to use that to measure a few places, and we'll review the information after we've done a bunch of runs, and we'll see if as the numbers go up, it affects the power, and we're planning to do some modifications to alleviate issues we're expecting to see with that. So let's get right into it. Let's run the bitch. Well, there you have it, guys. We did some solid dyno pulls there, and we got some good numbers. She put down about 582 at the wheels on the best run. I'll show you that in a second, but I'm going to have to explain an issue that we had there first. The test didn't go as smoothly as you would hope. We ran into two particular issues. One having to do with these tires. These are, our compound Pilot Sport Cup 2s, which are very sticky and great tire, but the issue is they don't stick for shit when they're cold. And given that it's winter in New England, it was about 40 degrees out when we were running it, so the car, believe it or not, was spinning. And admittedly, this car makes a lot of power, but not spinning on the dyno amounts of power. So that kind of sucked. And what we ended up doing to go to fix that, you can kind of see here. I don't know if you'll be able to see in this light, but we actually put some traction compound on the tires, and that got them sticking. So that was good. That issue was resolved. But then I noticed after running it a few times, the numbers weren't really what you'd expect. The torque was right, but the horsepower was off. Now, if you know how torque and horsepower works, the dyno does not read horsepower. I'm not going to go too in depth in this right now. I can make another video about how dynos work, about this dyno, and what makes it different from others and why, and if it's set up correctly, it's more accurate. But the bottom line is that dynos read torque, not horsepower. Horsepower can't actually be measured. Horsepower is calculated from the torque. It's a real simple equation. I'll just drop that right here on the screen for you guys so you can see. And it's dependent on RPM. Now, the dyno was reading about 400 RPMs off. So, like in the car, I'm driving the car to rev limiter, which is about 6,600, and the dyno was reading 62 at that point, which is obviously an issue. So I had to go into the setup and resolve that problem. So it's funny, if I show you these charts, you'll actually see that the best horsepower number is actually lower than the worst horsepower run, which I know makes no sense, but it's because essentially the best horsepower is measured at the wrong, or calculated at the wrong RPM, and the worst run is at the correct RPM. Let me just get my laptop screen back up here and I can show you guys what I'm talking about. So if we take a look here, you'll see our best run was about, let me pull up the values here, and we will, right there. So you'll see the best torque value was 605 feet-pounds of torque on the first run, the best run. But you'll notice the horsepower was low, but you'll see it was measured at 5,800, which is incorrect. In the car, I was at about 6,200, and that's, if you were familiar with this engine, you know that's not the correct peak power point. So I'll show you here. On the worst run, it was at 6,200, and it was measured at, it was 550, or 550, 554. And now that's, on the face of it, that doesn't look right, but if you look at this run, the worst run, you'll see the torque is actually about 10 low or so, or 20 low actually, sorry. And now basically the dyno, like I was explaining, calculates horsepower from the torque value. So you can see on this run, it actually made more torque. And so I can use that little equation and correct that at the right RPM, like I did or how I changed the dyno for the other one. And if I were to do that equation I was just showing you guys with the 493, it comes out to about 582 horsepower, which is pretty in line. That makes me real happy. That's pretty much exactly what I wanted to see. 582 and a little over 600 feet-pounds of torque is totally great for just having a Haltech intake as the only modification. So if it was 650 stock, you were to apply a 85% or 15% driveline loss to that, you would get to about 550 or so. So 580 is a very respectable number for stock. So now we also, I talked about, we measured some of the temps with the blower and stuff. And it's funny, you'll notice that there isn't really a trend here as far as the IAT goes up in the corner there, which wouldn't make much sense, and it really doesn't. And unfortunately, I didn't figure out this issue until it was too late to do any more testing, and I'll have to do a little follow-up to confirm the actual numbers of this. But basically, this car has 2 IAT sensors. Normally, when you're using HP tuners, you're only recording from 1, but there were 2, so the one that I was recording from is basically outside of the engine in the intake box, which obviously isn't accurate to what the temps are like in the blower. The one in the blower actually reads much higher. I just checked it quickly with the car off, kind of heat soaking. It was well into the hundreds, but didn't get enough accurate data on that to really speak on that effect of it. But you can see that the blower itself does get extremely hot. And it's really not all that surprising because it's sitting right on the hot engine. I don't know if you guys can see that, but so there's the cylinder heads right there and then the edge of the blower. And so one modification that we want to make, and we're probably going to do real soon, is they make these thermal reduction plates. Faster Proms makes them, and they're made out of a phenolic material basically, and that prevents some of the heat transfer from the 200 degree or so engine into the blower, which will really help you out because even if I do get to see that correct IAT, it won't actually show you how bad the temps are because the sensor, is somewhere up in the plenum of the blower, and the air is actually passing by this, as you saw in that chart, 190 degree, temperature metal. So it's superheating everything. It's pretty bad. It definitely kills performance. And that's supposed to add, I think it's about 20 horsepower or so, and we're probably also going to port the blower. So it'll be curious to see, how much we'll gain doing that. Now, what was much more concerning than all of what I just talked about, admittedly though, is so I have my HP tuner scanner right here, right? And what you'll notice is that there actually is some knock in the stock tune. I don't know if this has to do with the intake. You can see right there, it's pulling 4 degrees in some points, or up at, let's go back over here. You can see up at, what's that, it's 4890. It's pulling 4.7 degrees of timing, which is totally unacceptable, especially for a stock tune. The car does have the intake, which adds some boost, but from Haltech and a lot of other people who have tested this intake, it's supposed to be able to work fine with the factory tune. So I think that's more of an issue with just the factory tune as opposed to the intake or anything like that. I probably am going to go in and pull some timing out of the tune, but for the purpose of this test, I didn't have the engine like fully instrumented the way I would normally want to. So I wasn't running an air fuel sensor, and I definitely want to see that before I play with anything. And I also want to do some testing out actually on the road and make sure that it's operating, the same way with the same problem out in the real world, because I wouldn't want to pull that timing and find that it didn't need to be pulled out on the street. So we'll probably be making some changes to the tune in this thing real soon, especially if we do those modifications that I just talked about. So that'll be coming up. There'll be some more videos that I'm going to make on this car outlining all those changes, and I'll go over each change we make, why we make it, and how it improves the car. Well, I'm going to let you guys go now. I hope you enjoyed these dyno runs and stuff, and I'll catch you guys next video.